Hi, it's Jan Hibbert from Log Cabin Leather for another session of my Workshop Wednesday series. And today I'm very excited because I'm going to introduce a new piece of equipment I have here in my workshop, which is called the Glowforge. It's a laser printer, and I'm very excited about it because of the amazing things it can cut. Now, again, the main material I work with is leather. And so for a long time I've wanted, I make some very intricate shaped barrettes and things that are, geometric shapes, I would say. I'm making leather feather jewelry and things like that was a collection. And I have the Paradise pendants, which is a heart-shaped pendant that I came out with not too long ago. But I've always wanted to do like butterflies and things. Well, leather is very difficult to cut. And if you're trying to cut tiny, tiny shapes, there's no way you can do it by hand. There's just no way. Leather is thick. It's tough on your hands. I mean, I have arthritis in my hands, so something trying to cut like that, I couldn't do it. So with this new piece of equipment, I can cut all these little shapes. I have to make the patterns, and I'm learning how to make the patterns because you have to tell it which lines you want it to engrave as opposed to which lines you want it to cut, and things like that. But I'm going to try to move the camera here and try to show you right in front of me here. I may have to turn this light on, which I know will glare on the camera. But again, I want to show you these beautiful little things that are on the table. So I am going to move the camera, and then I am actually going to get this machine going. And it does make some noise, but not excessive. My husband, again, is upstairs, and he says he can't hear it. The furnace is running over here as well. So I've got competition on all sides. Maybe I'll wait till that's at least done so that you won't hear both going at once. But right now I'm going to move the camera, and I'm going to show you all these little shapes that I can cut with this. And again, I should have brought a quarter or a piece of money to show you comparison size-wise, because some of these are very, very tiny, and they're gorgeous. So let me turn this light on here. And again, I apologize. This is probably going to glare on the camera, but now I'm going to move the camera and see if you can see all these beautiful. I'm going to move it this way. These beautiful. Now these are times. Again, sorry, you got to hold it the opposite of where you want to be. These little yellow ones. These are tiny. Now this is all the same pattern. The swallowtail. This is a swallowtail. This is a swallowtail. They're all different sizes, but this machine can cut them into these incredibly small. Detailed. They are hand painted. God, I'm sorry. This is hard to get the camera. You have to move your hand the opposite way of where it is. And again, I see that's not focusing as well as it could. But that's all hand painted. Little tiny. And these right here are my very favorite. And I can't even wear earrings. It has a little tiny Luna moth. Now the Luna moth is smaller than a dime. It's tiny. The flower is about the size of a quarter, maybe. And then it has a little tiny Luna moth. Again, hand-painted on the orange and yellow flower. Now, see, I'm learning how to do patterns, because, see, this pattern is something that is not coming out so far. It was supposed to be a bracelet, and it's cutting where I want it to engrave, and so it's cutting off the ends of the bracelet. And see, I wanted it to cut out the pieces in between like that, which I can't do. The other thing I can do with these are bracelets that I make, and they have these cutouts. And so that's very time consuming to do by hand. Now the machine takes about a minute, and it can cut these. So right now the machine is over here. That's it. It has to be vented out a window. So that was stuff, so it's in my basement, so it's venting up and out the window. I am going to get it going here. So now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see on my screen here. I'm not sure if you can see what you're looking at, because now I can't see my screen. There's a little butterfly here, and that's the pattern I want to do. I just had done one, so now I'm going to move the pattern to cut another one. which is, again, these are little earrings. So I can position it. You can get them really close to. As long as it shows up like that, it's ready. I've got the material. The leather is, see, it's scanning what's in there. So it knows what the shape of the material is. It scans it. Now it tells me it's ready. So I'm going to fire it up, and it is going to make some noise in a minute. It has to prepare the print, and then it's going to start printing. So here, I'm going to put the camera back here for a moment. I will show on the camera, and I hope you could see that, because I can't really do both of these at the same time. I don't know if you could see what I was showing there or not, if you could show my screen, but you have to use a computer with it, and it's a program that links up through the Glowforge itself, its own program. I can scan in. So this is where the butterfly came from. It's just on a piece of paper. I think right now I am doing this one with the tails. That one. I made it much smaller than what it is on this piece of paper, so it's in ring size. Again, comparison. Here is the actual cutout. I mean, that's not actually one of the ones on this page. But flashing here, and then it is going to start printing. And again, I'm not sure how well this will show. And again, I'm not going to keep the camera on it the whole time, but I will show you back the progress it's making and things like that, so you can see how it goes along. First it does the engraved lines, and then the last thing it does is the cut. Or you can set it up the way you want it, but obviously if it cuts out the item first, then there's a fan in there that's taking the exhaust and the fumes out of it, so it doesn't make any smell in the house, which works great. And if it cut the item out first, if it's a little tiny thing like the butterfly, it might blow out of position, and then obviously it's not going to scribe the lines into it properly. So you want it to be, you want it to do the scribe lines first. So example, on this one that didn't come out, the scribe lines are these lines. You don't want it to cut through. I did want it to cut through in these other sections and the outside. But again, what it did is cut off the ends, because it wasn't supposed to cut the piece that was in here. It was supposed to cut this piece out and leave the edge. So again, something I have to work on with the patterns. There's a program you can use with it, which is called Inkscape, which is a free program, and it will help make this vector pattern that you need. What I'm finding, though, it needs to have a 2-color pattern, and as long as I make my patterns in the 2 different colors like that, the red being the cut line and the interior lines being a different color, it will work. The first time I did this butterfly just a little while ago, and at first the interior lines not showing up quite dark enough on the original when I cut, which I can put on with Sharpie marker, or I could burn them in with the leather burner, which I have. But I went over the pattern again and made them darker, rescanned it. This time the lines did show up, so that is what I cut. So now I believe this is in the cool down mode. And in a moment it will tell me it's ready, and I can open it, and I will show you the finished product. And again, it just cut one of these now, which took about 2 minutes. It's cutting these little tiny, and again, you can see by the size of my fingers. But the size of my thumb, they're tiny. And look at the tails on them. Again, you probably can't color-wise. It has the 3 little tails on the butterfly. I mean, the detail of it is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So I am absolutely amazed, because these are going to be absolutely beautiful earrings. You can see some of the colors and the things I've done already. So these are going to be hair. These larger pieces are going to be hair pieces. So I also have the earrings in these. So this will be a new set that will be coming out. That's actually pink and purple. Not really showing that way on the camera. You know, so I'm making a whole series of these. So these will be one of my new lines. Of course, generally I introduce my new lines in person at craft shows and things, but obviously that isn't happening too much this year. I hope everybody's staying healthy. I am kind of excited because this came right the first end of the first week in March. It took me a little bit to get it up and going and get it working and things like that. But I'm absolutely in love with it. And now that I'm spending most of my time home or babysitting my grandchildren, I'm having time to play with this. Although, again, my market for selling my things is mostly craft shows. And although so far, right, you know, in the near future have been canceled, I'm not sure, you know, how far out. May shows haven't canceled yet, but, you know, I have a feeling they're going to be or should be. And of course, then the issue comes in that a lot of the shows, like the Made in New Hampshire Expo that was supposed to be in March, last weekend or whatever, they rescheduled for in December, which conflicts with another show that I had already signed up for. Same thing with the Guitar Expo I had signed up for. So again, whether they're even going to happen then, I'm hoping by fall things will be back somewhat to normal, but I don't know. None of us know. Pretty much I'm staying home, or I'm staying with my my daughter and her children who live right down the street from me, so I'm helping to babysit for them while they are still working part-time now, not the full hours they had before, but so I'm babysitting, but the rest of the time I'm loving playing with this and figuring out my patterns. And so, like, again, on this piece of paper, I haven't. So that was the one I just did with all the little tails on it, and it came out beautiful. Maybe we'll skip. I don't know if I do have that one already. That's this one. So see, that pattern is what I made into that earring. So I know that was one I just did today. That's a new one. That was a new one. And that's a swallowtail, so I have that one already. So this is the next one I need to scan. Now again, I have to go to my other screen, but all I have to do is put this now onto the machine. It will scan the picture, or you go to the home screen and you press scan or trace, and will show this whole page. And then you put a box around the image you want to print. It will show that, and then again you click and it will show which lines it's going to cut, which hopefully it shows the outside lines. If it shows lines you don't want to cut, then you have to start over again, things like that. And then once you've got your pattern so it works the way I want it to, then you put the material underneath, and it will scan the material so it shows the exact shape of it, so you can get the pieces very close together. So again, you know, these are ones from that I've already cut, but you could see I could place them close together, you know, to cut them out so it will do what you want. I also, again, I cut some of the bracelets out of the piece I have in here. So basically, you know, I can put a little tiny piece in there. Again, the only thing is if you're doing something, so this one I'm tying. The only problem with putting a little tiny piece of leather is you do have to have something to hold it down. So I have these very strong magnets that I have, and that you can put on top of the leather. There's a metal screen underneath which catches a little debris, because obviously when it's cutting little tiny shapes, there are little pieces that come off. You know, when they're close together, little scraps are in the cutout. Obviously, there's all those little pieces that are going to come out afterwards. So they caught in this metal screen, and so the magnets help hold the leather piece in place, so it doesn't, again, blow when that fan comes on to get rid of the exhaust. You know, the leather does have a smell because it is laser cutting, it's burning it somewhat. It's a hairline blade though, so see, that's why I can cut such tiny things. So it's really an amazing piece of equipment. So I'm very excited about it. Again, really, I've only been using it for about a week. I did have problems with the internet. I told stories about that on Monday. First, it was the mud in the driveway, and the truck couldn't make it up, so we had to go pick the machine up. Then we got it up into the house. You know, my table wasn't right. It wasn't sturdy enough. I mean, it's a big piece of equipment. It's 3 feet wide, long, and 2 feet wide, and I don't know, 10 inches tall. I mean, it's a big machine. It's on well, what would be a kitchen table, 48 by 36, and it's in the center. There's a few inches on either side, maybe 4 inches on each side, but it covers the whole thing. So that I had to move tables around and things to get it on the table that would work. It needs to be level. It needs to be, the exhaust needs to go out, all that kind of thing. But it is an amazing piece of equipment. So again, every night, now I go to bed, my imagination just runs wild of all the things I can do with it. I'm still trying to figure out the bracelets. So that's something I'll keep working on and see if I can eventually get it figured out. Again, there's some programs you can work with to make the right kind of files. I can't figure out that program. I have a print master program, but it doesn't make the right kind of file. I'm not sure, actually. I have to experiment with that. So right now I'm just doing things that were easy, and I got to work right away. So far I've been pretty successful, I think. I'm very pleased with what I've done so far. There's so many more things I can do. Like I've also done the mystery bracelet, cutting out the bracelets for these strips to make them even and straight is very difficult to do by hand, to get them to come out even in uniform. And now, this machine, again, it can cut it out in a couple of minutes. And this is just, it has to cut, so that is very fast. The cutting is the quick part. The etching and engraving is the part that takes at the time, when it's putting all the little lines and the details and things. And this machine could do a photograph. You could do a photograph. It needs to be, again, in black and white, and it could print the photograph on any material. I mean, lots of materials, not just leather. I bought it to use it on leather, but it can be used on all sorts of different materials. They give you a whole section here. All this stuff here is materials that come with it that you can use with the machine too. Different kinds of plywood, different kinds of hardwood. You can get a lot of people use it to cut signs. Oops, sorry, no, signs, plaques, things like that. Not very good, guys. Sorry. Things like that. So it works really well. So I am very excited about it. If you're interested in finding out more information, or if you think you might want to purchase one of these, I will try to put a link below, because if you follow my link, you will get a discount on it. It also helps me too. So it will help both of us. So if anybody's interested, there'll be a link below this, I believe. And again, I'm going to be showing more and more what I'm doing with this and things like that. So if you have any information or any questions, I can try to answer them. Like I said, I mean, I'm only a week into this, and I'm very excited. I've got dozens of these little butterflies and things cut out in all different shapes. And some, again, like I said, I love the little ones with the flower and the butterfly on top of it. The Luna moth. It's a 3D earring. I love it. And I can't even wear earrings, and I'm still really, really excited, because I love these hair pieces. I've been wanting to do. I mean, there's some cutouts that you can buy, a very simple butterfly barrette, which I've made for years, and it's nice. But again, these are so much prettier with the detail of the the real butterfly detail and stuff, and the different kinds of butterflies and things like that. So again, this is a swallowtail. This is really an Indian leaf, is what this is called. The one I did today is actually based on, I have a real butterfly of this one. It's called the Urandan moth, and it has beautiful colors on it. This one I actually don't know what it is. I found it in a book, and I can't find it. I was a teacher, so I'm using all the books that I had from, we used to study insects, and we have insects from the eggs right to the adults and things like that. So all the books I had on them and the different varieties and things like that, I'm using to make the patterns for these. Which again, if you've watched some of my other videos, a lot of my patterns and stuff come from children's books and things like that, and nature from New Hampshire. So again, butterflies is something I love. The tiger swallowtail, is something we have common around here. That's the monarchs. I have lots of. I haven't done the monarch yet. I haven't painted it yet. I do have that one too. So I'm trying to make them, real butterflies. Again, the Luna moth, bigger and things like that. So the actual shapes of the real butterflies and things like that. And now with this incredible machine, I can cut them out. So I'm very excited. So again, like I said, this is called the Glowforge. I will be showing more and more of the things I can do with it as I'm learning. So if anybody has any questions, I will try to answer those. Um, and I hope you stay tuned and watch some more of my videos. If you thought this was interesting, I'd love a thumbs up. I know I'm a little screwed up on moving the camera around and stuff, but again, it's kind of hard to show because, again, this program does have to work through the computer to work. So trying to show that I don't, I'm new at this. I'll have to watch a video and see if it even worked. So thank you very much for now. This was Jan Hibbett from Log Cabin Leather, showing how I made these beautiful leather cutouts on my equipment called the Glowforge, which I just recently purchased, and I am absolutely in love with it. I hope you join me next time for Spotlight Saturday, when maybe I'll show a little bit more of the things I can create with this. And thank you very much. And all next month is going to be about guitar straps and the making of those, which I also could cut with this and stuff. I'm not quite ready because that's a little more advanced than I'm ready for at this point. But thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much. Have a great night. Bye for now. Sorry, didn't end.